Hi everyone, my name's Jonna and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to talk about how I got this free cruise voucher from my local casino. And what I did, what I booked, and all that kind of stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. I'm going to go over everything in a couple different videos about the process of getting this free cruise, how I can get another one, how I can continue to keep this going and get free vacations to wonderful places around the world, or a balcony on Carnival. But I talked to them and they said no, that it was, and I even, they told me no, it's only for a balcony, which is great in itself. Okay, I'm not going to, put a beggar on a horse, as my grandmother would say. But I called the casino and talked to the manager there because I said, well, my voucher here says that I get a mini suite on Holland America or Princess. And I chose Princess. And then the balcony on Carnival. Free offers apply to cruise fare only, taxes, fees, and regular expenses and non-refundable deposit are not included. So you're getting the base fare, which is still great. Um, you pay your port fees and taxes, which for me on this cruise that I took were $190. And then I had to put a $200 deposit, and that is refundable for onboard credit when I get on the ship. So I've got that spent already. And then anything you want. If you want a drink package or if you want specialty dining, then you have to pay for that. One moment. I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I actually have to pay for on this free cruise. Now, it's still a great deal, and I'm still so happy I'm going, but everything isn't inclusive and included. But everything you need is, okay? Your food's included. If you want to go to specialty dining, you have to pay more. But the food is wonderful and you don't have to go to specialty dining. You can get coffee, water, you can get juice at breakfast, and I think you can get fountain drinks. Those are all free. However, if you want a specialty coffee, like an Americano or a latte or a mocha, you have to pay for it. But you'd have to pay for it if you went and got something here at one of those expensive coffee shops. So that's that. Okay, so here is my Princess app. I downloaded it as soon as I did my vacation, and it enables me to set up my ID, and then I can book dining. I can do the packages, I can book excursions, and I can book a spa treatment. Anything you want to add extra. Now they also have tips that they add on, for me, are $119, and it depends on the length of your trip, and it depends on your room. If you have a suite, I think you pay more. Balcony, you might pay a little more than an inside cabin. I'm not really sure. Mine was, I think, 17 a day or 16 a day. It's very low. It's $119 for the whole cruise for 7 days. So um, Wi-Fi. They have a package, Princess Premier Plus and Princess Premier, and I'll do another video on those. Those are packages that incorporate several things, Wi-Fi, drink package, and gratuity, and it's so much a day. But I'll do another video on that. So I didn't take any package as of yet. I don't think I am. I don't drink. I will get specialty coffee. I will, and regular coffee and juice in the morning are free. Regular coffee is free. And then I think you can get fountain sodas at the buffet, and water. So the water on there is filtered and you just have to have your own water bottle. And then I may go ahead and order like a 12 pack of water for the room. So I have water in the room. But that's very small amount of money, and I was going to get it because of the tips and the Wi-Fi, but I thought, I'm going on a cruise and I don't really want the Wi-Fi because it's going to force me to unplug from this thing and actually enjoy the trip. Now, I don't know how hard it's going to be. And, because we're all attached to these items. Like, it's our lifeline. So now, when I go home from the cruise, the last 2 days are at sea. I may go ahead and pay for one day to have Wi-Fi just so I can contact people and check in on people and stuff like that. I also have to check with my provider if my phone service is good on land. So when I'm in Mexico, and that's where I'm going, Mexico. And so anyway, I didn't get that package. So far, all that I've had to pay are my fees and my $200 deposit. That's $390, 200 of which I will get back on the ship and I can use for when I buy a specialty coffee, if I buy something in the gift shop, if I decide to go to a spa day, or if I decide specialty dining, that $200 is good. They told me it's good for everything except casino. Now, I know in the past it was good for casino, but that's fine because I have plenty to spend it on. And you can actually, when you get on board, use that for your tip gratuity, which mine is $119. So I will have to add that on. And so that's 190 and 119. So that brings me up to 300, a little over $300. That's nothing. I'm going on 7-day cruise to Mexico, 3 ports, and I do have to fly in to LAX, or it's out of Long Beach, but I'm going to fly into LAX, and I booked that through Princess. So when I checked, because I'm a researcher, I checked flights and a lot of different flights, a lot of different times, and I found that the prices that Princess gives you if they book the flight is a lot less. And I mean, it was like 400 and something, and I ended up paying 300 and something for round trip airfare. So that is included. Um, but I'd have to pay that if I went on a cruise anyway. I mean, these are things that, I'm saving the price of the room, and a balcony room for 2 people, which this cruise is for, is I think it's about 1,500 per person. Um, My daughter may go with me. It isn't decided yet, but they told me that my cruise is paid for. If she goes, then she just has to pay those same things, port fees and gratuity, whatnot, and she doesn't have to pay for the cruise. And if she doesn't go, I don't have to pay for the cruise. I just have, it's just one person. So that's good. Sometimes you have to pay that extra person. So I got that. Then it says on here that I have a choice of obviously Carnival, Holland America, and Princess up to 10 days. Now I went 7. I was going to go 10, but I haven't cruised in a long time. And I thought, I better go 7 because that's a long time. And especially since I'm not going to be, connected or anything. Okay. I mean, I can connect. You can always get Wi-Fi on the ship. Okay. Um, and I can sail to Alaska. I could have sailed California coast, Canada, New England, Caribbean, Europe, Pacific coastal, Mexico, Bahamas, Bermuda. Are they available only on, oh, Bahamas and Bermuda are available only on Carnival. Offer is capacity controlled and based on availability. It excludes holiday and specialty sailing. So I got this in November, and here are the dates when I got it. I don't know if you can see that. And it says there that I got it in, it was issued on November 17th. of last year, and I have until March 10th of this year to book it, which I've already booked it, and I have to sail before December 6th of this year, 26. So um, I had to give my player's card number so they could look up my qualification, that I was qualified and what I was qualified for, because I guess there were different ones. And I called, there's a special number you call that they deal with the casino booking. So I did that and booked the Mexican Riviera. I am leaving from Long Beach, basically, San Pedro. I'm flying into LAX. I'm leaving from San Pedro. I'm going to Mexican Riviera. It's 7 nights. It is ports are going to be Cabo San Lucas, and then we go to Mazatlan, and then we go to Puerto Vallarta, and then we come home. So we have one day at sea when we leave, and then we end up, I think, at noon the next day in Cabo. Then we leave Cabo, and the next day we end up in Mazatlan. Then we leave Mazatlan, and the next day we end up in Puerto Vallarta. And then we leave Puerto Vallarta, and we have 2 days at sea, and then we end up back in San Pedro. So I'm excited. I am so excited. I can't even tell you. I've done so much research. So what I did was I go on the internet, and I was researching the different ships, and I was watching some YouTube videos on the ships and what I liked and didn't like. Um, Carnival is the party ship, and I didn't really want to go on a party ship because I don't know, I see fights breaking out and they look like they're having fun. Okay, I'm not a drinker, so I think if you drink and you like that, then it's probably a great ship and it looks like fun. They have a lot of activities on Carnival. They have, all the slides and wave riders and those sort of things. Roller coasters, I think. I don't know. They have a lot of stuff. And then Holland America is kind of quiet too. And Princess is quiet. I mean, they're still drinking. There's still drink packages. There's still shows every night. There's stuff going on every minute, but I think it's just a younger demographics for the carnival, and I just decided I wanted to go on Princess. So I guess it's all in your taste. There's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. It's what you enjoy. So I decided to go on Princess. Decided to go to Mexico this time. I almost went to Alaska, but I thought, um, I may do Alaska in the fall because it gets hot here in Arizona, and I'm thinking I may want to get out of town and get in some cooler weather, and I may do it then. But at any rate, I decided to go to Mexico. Um, it's also a little bit familiar to me because that's where I cruised before. Hey, settle down. Hey, hey, settle. You can come up here quiet. Quiet. Look out the window if you want. I cruised to Mexico, and I took my mom on a cruise to Mexico, and I went on several cruises to Mexico. I actually worked for a company that at the end of the year, the general managers, we all got a cruise to Ensenada and back. It was a 3 or 4 day cruise. It wasn't big, but it was nice, and it was one of the nicer things that I worked for a company that did for us, actually. I mean, to send us on a cruise at after Christmas, to send all the general managers on a cruise, and we had a lot of activities and stuff like that to do. So that was very fun. Um, so anyway, I've done that and I really enjoyed it. But then as I got older, I just never really did it again. Um, I recently was thinking I wanted to do it. So here I go. Now, like I said, I booked my airfare through the cruise. If you have a travel agent or you want to check with the travel agent, you may want to book a cruise through them because they may also have better rates because they book a lot of people through the cruise or different things. They may have just different stuff. Now, I had to book my actual trip through the line they gave me that handles the casino voucher. But then after that, I've just called the regular line, and they've looked up my authorization number, or my authorization or my code, whatever, of my booking, and then they booked it from there. So they booked my airline. I do still want to book transportation. They do have transportation from LAX to the ship, and I think they said it was $47. Now you can take an Uber, you can take a bus, you can have a friend pick you up and drive you, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Princess transportation shuttle, whatever it is. I don't know how often it leaves. I have to really call. I did call to book it when I was just going to fly one way, um, to see how much it was, and they said 47. So now I don't know if I book it round trip, if it's double or if it's not, but I will fill you in on that once I know. I was going to book to go in a day early because that's what everyone says to do. Go in a day early and get a hotel. That way you're not stressed that the plane's going to get canceled or anything like that. I'm not really in an area that has a lot of cancellations. I'm not on the East Coast. There's not a lot of cancellations on weather. There could be. I mean, I say that, but knock on wood. But and so I was looking at that, and then you have that cost of a hotel room. So I was looking at that, and then when I was reading over the Princess app, it said that if you book your airfare through Princess Easy Air, I think it's called, they guarantee that if your flight gets canceled or changed or whatever, they will get you on another flight and they guarantee you getting to the ship. Now, if they can't, they will transport you to the first port. So that's pretty good. I mean, I don't know how much more insurance you want than that they're willing to do. And it is kind of nerve-wracking. I wanted to take an earlier flight than I booked, and I was trying to tell the lady that, but I did book it pretty close to boarding time. Um, I get in at quarter to 10, and I think you can start boarding at 10:30, but I gotta, I may not check my luggage because I have to wait for that then. But anyway, I will get the shuttle and get over there, so that might help too if the shuttle's taking me. And um, it says that, I don't know if they hold the ship up. They don't really hold those ships up. That's the thing. But they said they'll get you, I don't know if they fly you down to Mexico or what, but they get you to the next airport. So, however that works. Now, I'm not thinking that's going to happen. But I didn't go a day early. I was going to drive there because it's about 7 hours to drive from where I live now to LA. And I was going to drive there. And then I was going to fly home. But, just rent a car and drop it off. But then I thought, well, you rent a car, you have that expense, then you have to get from the car rental place to the ship, which wasn't that close. And that's another $30 or $40. So then you're tired because you drove all day. So I thought, no, I'm just going to fly in. What's the difference if I'm flying in or driving in? Really, I mean, something could happen if I was driving in. And maybe I should have gone a day ahead, but I don't know. Being cheap, I didn't want to pay that extra night stay in a hotel in LA. But if you do that, they have shuttles. Some of the hotels have shuttles from the airport to the hotel, and then you can shuttle back to the airport, and then you can get your shuttle to the cruise ship through Princess at the airport. You just have to shuttle back to the airport. So I'm going to fly in the day of. I'm going to get on that ship and nothing's going to happen. I'm going to make it. And then flying home, I actually have quite a bit of time because the flight she gave me back is pretty late in the day, but that's fine. I may be able to connect with some people since I'm from that area originally. I may be able to connect with some people and visit. Um, but I will go to LAX and just spend time in the airport, I guess, waiting. And let's see. And I won't rush off the ship. I'll get off, a lot of people rush off the ship to make their flight and whatnot. I can stay on as long as they'll let me, which is usually about 10 o'clock. And then by the time I get off and back to the airport, it's going to be 12 o'clock or 1. So, yeah, it'll all be fine. It'll work out fine. I am really excited about it. So so far, I have my port fees and taxes. I have my $200 deposit, which I'll get back. I have my tips. Now, on the tips, I will do another video about the tips because right now a lot of people are pulling tips back and not tipping or tipping when they want to tip. Um, Being from a service industry, I am not going to do that because I know those tips go to more than just the person you see in front of you because it takes a village. I'm telling you. And nowadays, most restaurants have pool tipping. Now, I will have extra money. I don't know how much, if it'll be 100 or 200, I'll have extra money on me to tip. You got to tip the porter and you got to tip, if you want to tip your room steward, if you want to tip the bartender or the barista or your waiter, those tips are all included. But if you want to give more, you just have to figure out what you want to do. Um, I'm sure I'll be giving out more tips because I'm just from that industry. So, I'm very tip aware, I guess. Um, and they work really hard on these ships. I would not hold my tip back. I know a lot of people are doing it. I don't know what the ships are going to end up doing. I think they're probably going to end up doing is have the tips all inclusive. I think Virgin does that to where there isn't a tip amount, but your cruise price is going to go up. So, you know, the people that are doing that, I think, are ruining it for other people, or they're making the cruise ship just reassess how they do it. Um, and I'll do a video on tipping, the different variations of what people think about tipping and when you do it. Do you give your room steward the money the day you get there, or do you give them the day you leave? Or do you give them both? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I have that cost. The other cost I have that I'll bring up in this video, and you may or may not want to do, is insurance. Now, if you have to, for any reason, go to the medical center, it's going to cost you a lot. I don't care if you have insurance or not. I think if you go down there and you just feel seasick and they give you medication, it could cost you a couple $100. So I am getting travel insurance for this main thing. If I had to be medevac off a ship, it would probably, and I think the ship has some kind of insurance for you, but it's minor amount. I don't know if it's 10,000 or something, but it could cost you 20 to $50,000 to be taken off the ship and sent to a hospital. Um, you're also in a foreign country, so also on travel insurance, it's not just the medical. It is if your luggage gets ruined, if your luggage gets wet. And I saw a couple videos where actually they had like, the sprinklers in the rooms go off and people's luggage was damaged. And the cruise ship did give them compensation, but you would get this from insurance too. If you do miss um, your flight gets canceled or something, that insurance helps with that too. So you will be reimbursed. If something happens and I missed my whole cruise because of something that's not my fault. The cruise ship cancels, or I don't know, natural disaster happens, whatever. It includes that. So it includes, and you can have, if you get a rent-a-car, you can add that on, so you don't have to get insurance at the rent-a-car place. It just adds it onto your travel insurance. Um, so your cost, your flight, your trip. Um, And it's really not a large amount, and I'll do a video on that and we'll go over the different amount. Now I'm 70, or I'll be 70 when I go on the cruise, so I'm in a higher bracket, I'm sure. I'm sure if I was in my 30s or 40s, it would be, you know, a lot. It would be less, but it's not very much, so it's well worth the money, I think. The other thing you might want to do is, if you don't have a passport, like me, I don't have my passport, you may want to get one. I do have a enhanced driver's license, which is fine if you're going from a port in the U.S. round trip back to a port in the U.S. You can use that because I'm not traveling from Mexico. I have a port there. Now, I don't know if I get off the ship and something happens, I need to have that passport because or if they have to fly me down to Mexico, I think I have to have a passport. So I think I am going to have to get it. And now that I've waited this long, I'm going to have to get it expedited, which costs more. But at any rate, it'll be good to have, especially if I decide to do more cruising. Um, so the so you may want to get a passport if this is something you're doing. You can use an enhanced ID, and I would take my birth certificate along with that. I don't know if you need to, but my thing is if I apply for a passport and I don't get it before I leave, I won't have my birth certificate because the passport people will have it. So that's why I need to expedite it to make sure I get it in time. Okay, and I've waited. I shouldn't have waited. I should have done it a month ago. And I'm getting 7 days on a ship going to 3 ports in Mexico. I have entertainment paid. I have all my food paid. I have room service for breakfast. I have pool activities. They're going to entertain us and have things for us to do all the time. And I can also just rest and relax. So that's exciting. Um, if that's something you like, join me for my other videos because I'm going to go over a lot of details on things. Now, there is another thing I'm going to buy on the ship when I get, or two things I think. I'm going to try to get to the sanctuary and book one of my sea days in the afternoon, at least a half day of the sanctuary, which is in an all-adult inclusive place with nice lounge chairs and a real serene atmosphere. And if you get it in the afternoon, supposedly they have tea. They have a high tea. So I thought, well, I might do that. And then if I can get it, they say to get there before you go to the buffet and you get on that ship, get to the sanctuary because otherwise you may not get a spot. And then also I want to pay for, there's a thing you can get on your app that you have your medallion. They go on a medallion. Instead of having a card, it's like a tracker. And it lets you in your room, it lets you pay for things, everything kind of the card does, but it's just a disc. And it's like an air tag basically. And they know where you are on the ship, so you can locate people you're with or friends. Um, and there is an app for $14.95 where you can get food delivered to you or drinks delivered to you anywhere on the ship. You pay that one time and then you have access and they can deliver it to you. And this, I think, does include room service. So you get breakfast room service, but if you want room service any time of day, say you get sick and you just don't want to leave your room, or you just don't want to leave your room one day, then you can get room service. And if you have that, I believe that includes, and that's $14.95. So I will purchase that. Um, I'll go over all the other things in the packages, the Princess Plus package and all that in another video. I keep saying in another video because I can't get it all in one video. I'm sorry. There's just so much, but I'm excited. I'm so glad you came by and listened to my little spiel. Um, there are They also give you this sheet that gives you your basic booking information. It's a lot of stuff. I never did read it. my costs and responsibilities. I'll read over this, and if anything I missed, I'll tell you about it. But I researched, I looked on the different cruises, and I decided what cruise I wanted to go on, and if they had availability in rooms before I called up and made my appointment. And then I called up, and I wanted to be in a specific area. I didn't really get where I wanted to be because I waited a little too long. But I'm kind of mid aft, but I'm not totally aft and not totally mid. I wanted to be on a certain floor. I wanted to, my balcony, I didn't want obstructed view. So anyway, I researched all that and the different times the ship was traveling, the different weeks, the time of the year, the different ships, and decided on this. So we'll go over more of that later. If it interests you, come back, watch my videos, put the little bell on, they'll notify you when I upload one. And other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for coming by. I really missed my loyal subscribers. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you aboard, and we'll talk more about cruising. I'm also going to be doing casino play, so I'm just not really going to casino right now and doing it because I'm saving and paying for this, and I want to make sure I have money to do this and to get another free trip, and we'll talk more about that too later. Okay, thanks for coming by. You have a wonderful day. Bye.